So Global Link has announced a brand new online competition, and with this new competition comes new rules and a chance for new mons to shine. So today I bring you the Kanto Raiders lineup. So with the announcement of the Weakness Cup, there will be a brand new competition for us trainers to be entering, and of course the big thing about this competition is that every Pokemon that enters must have at least 5 different weaknesses. So that's going to be very tough for some trainers to work with since a lot of their favorites won't be allowed in, but there still will be quite a few favorites allowed in. And one of the stipulations of this competition, at least from what I can see, the only items you're allowed to have are weakness policy and berries that reduce the damage from super effective attacks. So going through the list of Pokemon, at least starting from Generation 1, we're going to be looking at each generation. I'm going to be giving you a list of at least 6 Pokemon from each generation that I would find very viable for this competition. And so the first one we're going to be looking at Generation 1. The first one that we're going to be looking at is regular Executor. Not Alolan Executor, just plain old-fashioned Generation 1 regular Executor. Regular Executor is a very interesting Pokemon. It has the Harvest ability. It also can run the Chlorophyll ability if it wants to. You know, if you want to set up like Sunny Day or something with one of your other Pokemon that can run it, and you want to use the Chlorophyll ability, that would make Alolan Executor very powerful. It has a very strong special attack. It has some okay defenses. You can probably use that to set up and such. If you want to use the Harvest ability on Executor, you can use that to perhaps keep up the berry you have up, but I highly doubt that's gonna really make much of a difference if you're gonna go for that. As for moves, yeah, well, you get some interesting moves. You have some Hypnosis shenanigans you can pull off. You have Egg Bomb if you want to. You also have access to the Wood Hammer, though I don't think many people will be using Wood Hammer on regular Executor. But you do have access to the Leaf Storm if you want. You also have access to Confusion. You also have access to some interesting moves, some really good TMs as well. You also get access to Moonlight if you're going for egg moves and such. You also get Lucky Chant. You can do something like that. So that's what you can do for the Alolan Executor. So for the next Pokemon, we're going to be looking at, once again, regular Golem. Not Alolan Golem, because Alolan Golem only has 4 weaknesses. So if we're gonna run Golem, the only Golem we can run is regular Golem. But regular Golem has some very strong defensive stat and very strong offensive stats. So this is actually one of the original Pokemon that you can run with the weakness policy, since it has access to the Sturdy ability. So if you want to, you can run the weakness policy on Golem. You can give it the weakness policy, have it run Sturdy, and as long as it takes a super effective hit, it will pretty much survive that hit. And you can go for something like say a Rock Polish if you want to, increase your speed and so on. Or you can go for something else like say Bulldoze, or just go for pure offensive like say with the Earthquake and so on. It has access to Hammer Arm, has access to Wide Guard, though I don't know why you want to run Wide Guard. You can use Automatize as well. And basically you can just go for whatever offensive attack you want. You can go for Smackdown for those flying type Pokemon. And if you want to, you can just go for a massive explosion. Let's face it, we all just want to explode some days. So that's going to be for the Golem. The next Pokemon we're going to be looking at is probably an unusual Pokemon. And we're going to be looking at Parasect. Parasect has some pretty interesting abilities. It has Effect Spore, it has Dry Skin, dealing with helps you deal with the opponent's physical Pokemon, and if they're running, water type Pokemon, you can use the Dry Skin, especially if they're going to be running Greninja, which is a Pokemon from the 6th generation, which is also allowed into the competition. So Parasect does have access to the Spore. It's one of the few Pokemon allowed in that has access to the Spore move. So it can run the Spore if it wants to. It can run Stun Spore, it can run Absorb, Poison Powder, not really or don't know what I was thinking there. It can run something. It can run a physical offensive Parasect using X Scizor. You can go for other physical attacks such as Leech Life. If you want to run a special attacker, you can go for Sludge Bombs and so on. You also have access to some interesting egg moves such as Metal Claw. Somehow you get Metal Claw. You can also get access to the Leech Life. You can get the Agility. You get Bug Bite, Cross Poison. You get some very strong abilities with this Parasect. You can also have access to not Rotorilla, but you also get access to Pursuit, one of those few moves that can actually attack Pokemon when they're trying to swap out, which people will try to swap out during this competition. So the next Pokemon I'm going to be looking at, and it's again going to play into what Parasect does with the Pursuit, is Starmie. Starmie has access to the natural cure, so if it gets poisoned or so on, it can just switch out and then switch back in, and it's automatically cured of whatever it is. So if your trainer or if your opponent, if you're running the effect spore and they try to swap out, you can use that Pursuit to do some extra bit of damage, especially if they're on the verge of fainting. Maybe that's what they want to do or so on, or if you just want to, cause a little bit of extra damage on your turn that you swap out, that's what you can do. And also it has access to the Analytic ability, so for Analytic, if it moves after the opponent, it will deal more damage to them. I believe it's 20% more damage, I don't know, but overall, Starmie has a really strong speed stat. It's one of the fastest Pokemon outside of those Choice Scarf Pokemon, and since you can't run Choice Scarf, Starmie's a pretty good Pokemon to run. As for moves, well, you don't get access to a lot of moves when it's on evolution, but it does get access to the Rapid Spin, which is probably one of those moves which you'll be running if you're trying to keep the Pokemon. If you're trying to get rid of, say, rocks or stealth rocks, spikes, or poison spikes, or whatever those are. If you also get leech seeded, you can also get rid of them with the what am I trying to say? Rapid Spin, that's also what I'm trying to say. You also get access to a lot of TM moves, a lot of powerful TM moves such as Thunder, Psychic, Psyshock, Blizzard. You can also get access to Thunder Wave. You can also go for Psych-Ups if they're trying to set up. You can also get access to the Flash Cannon, Waterfall, Dazzling Gleam. You get access to a lot of moves with Starmie. So the next Pokemon I'm going to be looking at is a slightly slower Pokemon than Starmie, and it has a very strong attack, and I'm looking at you, Scyther. So, Scyther, the original Mantis Pokemon, has access to the Technician. It's a very powerful ability, which improves the damage that's done by moves with a base power of 60 or less. So Scyther gets access to that. It gets access to quite a few 60 base power moves, such as Wing Attack. You also get access to, I believe it's not double hit, but you also can access to Feint. You also get access to the Feint. You also can use, I believe, other moves such as Silver Wind if you're going for a special attacker. You also get access to other moves such as Aerial Ace. Basically, you get access to some interesting moves. What you're going to be doing with this Scyther is basically just going for some offensive attack. You gotta make use of your speed, you gotta make use of your attack power, you gotta try to set up that sword stance if you're going to be going for a sword stance. You gotta make use of your speed and your attack power, because Scyther does not have access to a lot in terms of defenses. It has an 80 defense in both special and physical defense, but with all the weaknesses it's got, it's not going to survive anything for very long. So, moving on to our final Pokemon, the King of Speed. You've seen it before. If you've ever played in the battle tree, you've encountered it once or so. It's the Choice Scarf Rock Slide only Aerodactyl. But unfortunately, you cannot have access to the Choice Scarf in this, so you're going to have to use regular Aerodactyl's plain old 130 base speed, and just basically go for an all-out jolly natured attacking Aerodactyl. It still has access to one of the highest speeds you'll find in the game. It has access to some really powerful abilities such as Iron Head. Obviously, you're looking at that Rock Slide. We're all looking at the Rock Slide. It has access to the Sky Drop if you want to. And of course, if you really want to, you can use some of its various Fang moves if you want to go for an aggro one. And finally, this will also be our Roar Pokemon. it's the reason why I'm suggesting Roar is because you may encounter a Pokemon that's trying to set up, and it's probably going to survive Aerodactyl's attacks. So what you want to do is use the Roar. So that's the safety Roar, just keeping the Roar on hand in case they try to set up something. That Roar will help you push them out and make them waste their turn. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Those are my picks for Generation 1's team lineup of Pokemon. Once again, we're going to be looking at Executor, we're going to be looking at Golem, regular Golem, Parasect, we're going to be looking at Starmie as well, Scyther, and of course, finally, Aerodactyl. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, I thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye!